Nigeria, often referred to as the giant of Africa, is a nation brimming with potential, blessed with vast natural resources, a very youthful and dynamic population, and a strategic geopolitical position. Despite decades of independence and promises of transformation, the country continues to grapple with persistent challenges: epidemic corruption, infrastructural decay, political instability, economic inequality, and weak institutions. As other nations accelerate towards innovation, prosperity, and of course global relevance, a critical question arises. Can Nigeria realistically rise to become a world-class country? And I'll say why we chose this topic, right? You know how people are going back and forth on the president's 2 years in office. It just got me thinking, is it a timeline thing? Is it after 10 years? Is it a 2-year thing? What exactly would be a realistic expectation if we say that we want to transform our country to becoming a world-class country? As we all know, Nigeria is a country of paradoxes with a population that is exceeding 220 million. It is Africa's most populous nation and one of its largest economies. It possesses vast reserves of oil and gas, a growing tech scene, a very vibrant culture, and an entrepreneurial spirit that drives innovation in the face of adversity. Nigeria is that place where Nigerians don't see impossibility, because with what Nigerians are faced with and the amount of greatness that has come out of this country, you will truly know that, yes, we were born to be great. Yet, all of these advantages stand in stark contrast to the country's reality, because right now, if you check, we have high poverty rates, chronic power shortages, insecurity, weak institutions, and systemic corruption. All of these things continue to undermine our progress. Now, we have decades of poor leadership and mismanagement, and this has prevented Nigeria from transforming its potential into meaningful development. We have just been a potential, whenever they are talking, oh, Nigeria has the potential, we have not been able to convert that into meaningful development. Public services are broken, infrastructure is lagging, and the education and healthcare sector, they are all in critical conditions, right? I mean, it's just everywhere, all the sectors. So while some might point to the bright spots like fintech, yeah, I mean, the amount of growth that we've experienced in fintech, amazing. Diaspora remittance, it's quite huge. I hear the amount of money that comes from diaspora is amazing. And of course, regional influence that we have as a country, the kind of influence that we wield, these are some people's argument, right? Others would argue that these are not enough to shift our nation's trajectory, right? As a country, with everything that we have, there has to be some level of intentionality if anything must shift. So countries like Singapore, South Korea, UAE, all of them, they rose from underdevelopment to global prominence in few generations. And if you really look at it, this is why a lot of us Nigerians were left wondering what is holding us back. I remember when I was very young, when I heard of the approach that Dubai approached then President Olusegun Obasanjo, and said, who invests in desert, right? That desert today, Dubai, is a world wonder, is an attraction to the world. Everybody from all over the world, they go to Dubai. Like literally, if you go to Dubai today and you go back a year from today, you would see different things, like you almost not recognize. That is how fast-paced their development is. But if you go to some parts in Nigeria, like you come back 10 years, it's actually even looking in a worse off state than where you left it a year ago. And that cannot be our reality. So we are asking, is it possible? Can Nigeria overcome some of these structural challenges that it has and achieve the world-class status? Or is that vision still very distant from us? We should just keep it in our dream realm. And you see, the answer to this question, it lies not in sentiments. And this is one thing I always say, that every time we want to have realistic conversations about Nigeria, I don't want politicians to keep politicizing it and thinking, who is sponsoring this person to say this? No. Because if we truly want to transform our country to a world-class standard country, we cannot be sentimental about it. We must have a clear-eyed assessment of where we are as a country, and what must change. And this is not trying to sugarcoat. And that's why I said that when everybody was talking about 2 years in office, I said, you know what, let's move away from that. What we need in this country is beyond every 4 years or every 8 years of somebody being a president. No. We need to really sit down and critically assess where we are as a country, where we stand, and what we must change. And if we do that, then maybe that journey that we want to achieve a world-class country might not be anything again in our dream. It might become a reality for us. So I thought to feature some countries. Whilst we're having all of this conversation, it's important for us to just have a quick history of some countries, right? And I decided that 5 nations that successfully moved from underdevelopment to becoming world-class economy. And, you know, I decided to just call out 5 nations and what they did to achieve that transformation.